Alright, y'all. So today I'm doing a very quick album review. I'm going to be reviewing ASAP Rocky's newest album, and I really can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to be reviewing Don't Be Dumb. The album that, has had so many delays, has been an album that's just been talked about for really almost a decade now. And it's kind of crazy that it's taken this long for it to come out. If you're at all interested in rap and music culture, you definitely know what Dope Me Dumb is. It's been the project that's been talked about forever, and I kind of just, like I said, at some point I gave up hope. Like, I was just like, you know what, I don't care if Rocky releases it. Cool. If not, I just don't care anymore. I'm not that invested. I've been burned too many times, so to speak. But he recently actually dropped the album. So I gave it a listen. It has 17 tracks, has some unique artwork with Tim Burton and stuff, which that's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, I am a Tim Burton fan, and I like all of his movies. And, like I said, I did listen to one of the singles that came out, even though, to be fair, there's been so many singles he has released before this album officially came out, which none of them really, except the latest one, have been on this project. That being said, let's get into it. So I'm going to start with the pros, the cons, and my overall first impressions on this album. Now, for the pros, I'm going to start out with something that doesn't necessarily have to do with the music, but just the visuals. And that is the music videos, the whole interactive aspect that's on YouTube right now for the project. And I'll also, I guess, mention some of the music videos that led up to this album's release. Rocky has some of the best music videos for any of his songs. This guy really knows how to make unique and interesting music videos that are just bizarre and really fascinating. There's a lot of rappers and musical artists that can do cool stuff too, but as popular as they are, a lot of their music videos seem very lame in comparison to his. His are just really unique, and I just don't think they get enough shine on them, right? A lot of people don't talk about them as much, which is a shame because the music videos are really cool and they're real unique most of the time. So I want to, like I said, that's a huge pro, not just for this project, but in general, ASAP Rocky. Now for the music. Overall, my initial impressions of this album, it's pretty good. Is it worth the delays and the wait? Absolutely not. But to be fair, like I said, I don't think any album can necessarily live up to the hype. There's very few projects that I can think of that really live up to the hype for those years-long waits. Like, for example, for me, Travis Scott's Utopia was one of those albums. I think when that album came out, I thought it was worth the wait. This project wasn't quite, in terms of, like, worth the wait level quality as this one is, as Utopia was. But that being said, doesn't make it a bad album. This is a pretty damn good project overall. Like a lot of A$AP Rocky's albums, it's full of different types of songs, genres being explored, different type of tracks. It's a mostly rap album, but it has a lot of interesting songs in it mixed in between that some of them really work, some of them are a little bit hit and miss for me. But nonetheless, want to talk about them. So I want to talk about some of my favorite tracks on the album, and I really do appreciate how much of genre switching and blending of styles this project does, and I think it does it very well. Some of my favorite songs on the project, I really like Don't Be Dumb, the title track. My favorite song is not even really a rap song on this album. It's Punk Rocky. That's a really good song. I just like the vibe of it. It reminds me a lot of previous songs he did in the past. I think like one of them was called Sundress, and older ones like Jukebox Joints. It's a really good song, and I've always liked when, Rocky kind of delves into psychedelia and pop territory a little bit. He does a really good job with it, and it's a really underrated aspect of him as an artist, and it's a huge highlight on this album. You also got some other tracks that are pretty hard, and they're really good. No Trespassing has got a very nice beat flow to it. There's also the title or the intro track. I thought it was also pretty good. The ending track is also pretty melancholy, but really good. The end. I also like Steal Your Flow. That's a pretty good track. It's got a very nice. He's got a very nice cadence in that one. What he's talking about. It's a very nice song overall. I also like the Air Force track. That one's kind of interesting because it kind of switches. Like it sometimes is a very slow, slowed down rhythm track, and then it speeds up into a cadence like a rap song, and it's got a very unique flow to it, and I really, really enjoy that one. And there's some other good ones throughout the project. There's the Tyler feature at the very end. That's a decent song. There's some tracks here and there that don't really quite hit as well, but I think overall, this is a pretty good album. If I had to rank it compared to his other projects, I haven't frankly listened to him in a while, which means I'll probably have to revisit them. The recent one that comes to my mind was his latest one, which was Testing. I think Testing had a lot of really good songs on that one too. I get the same kind of vibe here. It's like there's a lot of really good songs. I guess overall, it is a better album than Testing because I do think there's more tracks here that I really like. Testing had, like, for me, like 3 or 4 really good songs, and the rest of the album was kind of okay. But like I said, it's been years, frankly, since I've heard it. So, like I said, I think it's a little bit better than his Testing project. But like I said, I really just got to go back and revisit all those to really give a proper ranking. But yeah, I mean, like I said, overall, it's pretty good. For some of my cons, there's some things here that I think Rocky tries. And I think, like I said, this is kind of an experimental record. He tries a lot of things and genres here. And some of it really works. Some of it doesn't. And I do think, too, I wish he would also try out genres at least more than just once on this album. For example, I wish there was, like, other songs like Punky or Rocky Punk, or I forget the name of that one already, but the recent one he released, I kind of wish he would try more genres of that song throughout this project. But there's some like weird ones on this album. There's one called STFU, Shut the Fuck Up. That one's a bizarre track. It's kind of like in a lot of ways attempting to be like a rage song, but I don't know. It doesn't quite work for me. It's really bizarre. Not like I said, horrid to listen to, but it's just, I don't know. Robbery 2, that one is a bizarre one because that's like a jazz and blues kind of track. And it's actually not too bad. It's just really different because Rocky, as far as I remember, I don't think he's ever done anything like that song. And part of it works. Part of it I'm like, so I'm a little bit 50-50 on that one. Of course, I've seen a lot of people who really like it. That's their opinion. Maybe it'll warm up to me. But that one was like, a little bit unsure about it. But overall, I gotta say, I do really like Don't Be Dumb. Excuse me. I think, obviously, it wasn't worth the wait. But, that being said, it is a good quality project. It's got a lot of really good songs, really solid tracks. I wouldn't say it's a 10 out of 10. I would probably give it maybe a 7, maybe not a 7, but maybe like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I mean, compared to like other albums that have been recently released that I reviewed, I thought this one was a little bit higher compared to those. There's just a little bit more interesting experimentation happening here. Things Rocky is trying that are very interesting. And I just think, it's an overall more of a high-quality project. It's a pretty good album. Pretty good. Not great, not 10 out of 10, but, it's a pretty good album. But yeah, that's my review of Don't Be Dumb from A$AP Rocky. Hope you all have a good day and peace, y'all.